And just in from Riyadh, Salman Al-Ansari, who's the president of the Saudi American Public Relations Affairs Committee. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Francois.
Salman Al-Ansari, so with the United States walking away, is the deal dead, first of all?
I think the deal is dead. And it's on the way, actually, to be completely dead.
Is that good news?
To me, I think, okay, I used to be a big supporter of the nuclear deal. Anything that would stop Iran from acquiring a nuclear bomb is a positive thing. But what was the previous administration hoping for? They were hoping that the moment they get Iran to be part of a deal, that they will get more moderate, that they will not interfere in the affairs of others, that they will be investing the money that they will take in their own people. But instead, what we have noticed that is completely the opposite. Iran started to expand more and more. They are supporting 75 militia just in Iraq. They are supporting militias and sending troops to Syria. They are supporting Hezbollah, which is somehow internationally recognized terrorist group. They are supporting Houthis, who are actually firing ballistic missiles. So imagine a country like Iran is sending the technology of ballistic missiles to a non-state actor. What does that mean to the security of the region? So we should not look at it from an economic point of view. We should look at it from purely security point of view, so we can get to a solution with this regime. And I see that there are people who are supportive of the nuclear deal and took it to a new level of seeing the nuclear deal as a religion. It's not. It's been there for 3 years, like since the time it got signed. And let's ask the question, the simple question. What if Trump managed with his allies to get a better deal? Wouldn't everyone be happy? We would be happy. But the issue is that the people are having this kind of pessimistic view of Iran to be going through a different set of negotiation. But let's actually be optimistic. Why? Because Iran right now is in its weakest point ever internally, domestically in Iran. The rial, which is the currency of Iran, is 60,000 is equal to $1. So the economy is crippled, even though the nuclear deal has been signed and everything, and the unrest within the Iranian regions and everything. So the international community have a lot to do to get Iran on track. We should not miss the opportunity, because the deal does not stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapon, but it only delays it or postpones it until 2025, which is 7 years from now. 7 years is nothing.
On that point, Salman Al-Ansari, the conservatives, the hardliners, they're with Trump on this one, it sounds like. We had on Monday in Kayan, which is a newspaper directly overseen by the supreme leader, an editorial describing the deal as a stinking corpse. We've had remarks from the head of the powerful Revolutionary Guards in Iran, who is saying the fate of the Iran deal is clear. Is this good news, the fact that the hardliners are cheering for the end to the deal?
Yeah, let's actually have it very clear. The one who calls the shot in Iran is the supreme leader and let's say the far-right extremist, whatever. I do not believe that there is a moderate group within the political fabric of Iran, because they are all should be subjected to the supreme
Hassan
leader.
Rouhani's predecessor was more hardline than him. Will this not embolden the hardliners domestically inside of Iran?
For us, we need to identify what is a hardline. Being a hardliner means having a crazy rhetoric or having crazy actions. I see Iran to have consistently been having crazy actions. So rhetoric is, regardless of rhetoric of Najad, regardless of rhetoric of Zarif, who smiles everywhere in Europe, the actions speak louder than words. And we saw, look, what is happening right now, what we can see on TV right now, they are burning the American flag, and Death to America is the main slogan. People who want to get Iran to be globalized or part of the community, they always want to show that it's a right and left struggle within Iran. No, it's a struggle within the system of the core of the system itself. And if you want to tell me that Rouhani and Zarif are more moderate than the others, I actually don't buy it, because I don't see any action that support that either in the region or domestically as well.
How can you on earth sell to the Iranian, be the moderate one, be a moderate or a hardliner, that you should stick to this agreement and go ahead with it when you can't deliver what was promised. This is really the political issue that is there at the moment for Europeans and for all those. We tend to forget also about Russia and China. How do you sell to the Iranians the idea that they should stick to this and go ahead with this? Because there, I totally agree with our friend in Washington. What's the purpose of having built and negotiated this agreement, which at least allowed for some stability on the whole issue of proliferation of nuclear weapons?
Mr. Ambassador, there is a proverb in Arabic that says, يدي في الماء وغيري في النار. أو يدي في النار وغيري في الماء. It means my hand is in fire, and I mean by my hand as the people in the GCC, in the Middle East, and the people in Europe have their hand in normal water. So why I'm saying this? Because we are actually affected heavily by the Iran regime. When you have, just imagine a country that is by the borders or close to the borders of France that keeps sending ballistic missile technology and militant groups to attack Paris in almost a weekly basis. Do you, as Paris, will accept that us as Saudi Arabia or Bahrain or Kuwait would go and deal with that country and support its economic empowerment?
But
no, not at all. So it's a principle.
Yeah.
We should forget about economy for a second. Guys, I know that there are Airbus deals that equals to $10 billion with, and you don't want to risk it here in France. I know that there were 160,000 cars by Renault have been sold last year. Yeah, I think I agree a lot with Nathan about these ideas. But just to mention something about the tweet that you've read or the comment, because I feel that there is this kind of widespread feelings of French and Germans and British that they should not be following the US. Let's have it in this way. Let's imagine after Russia took Crimea, that the US would come up and say, I'm not going to sanction Russia. Would the French and British and Germans be happy about that? And they would be like, yeah, it's multilateralism and the US should do whatever they want. This is the thing. It's a principle. Forget about economy. That's what I keep saying. When it comes to Iran, forget about economy, forget about opportunities. Think about the principle of security, of global interest when it comes to security. That's very important to mention. The second thing is, if you go and check the national security strategy that has been published 4 months ago by the White House, they said it very clearly, achieving peace through strength. Is that something going to work? I believe so. Why? Because if you talk and deal with such regimes like the Iran regime and its militias around the world, you cannot deal with diplomacy.
But
so that's why we see.
But do you agree with Ambassador Vimont when he says the world might be a more dangerous place after the tearing up of this deal?
Okay, it's a one decision that we have to take. Either we take it now or delay it for the days after and to throw the dirt under the carpet. We don't want that. We don't want to get to that position in 7 years after Iran acquires more power, after Iran gets to be more expansionist. So that's the thing. Let's deal with it now. Better now than later.
Lebanon and all around, it feels, if you look at this week on Salman al-Ansari, that tensions are rising in the Middle East, not receding.
And that's what I'm actually talking about. If we let the Iran regime keep receiving money, receiving global money out of the deal, they will keep continuing doing the same thing, where they expand more and more. And after 7 years, we will have less options than we do right now. So that's the core of the principle that I'm talking about.
Well, I disagree with that point.
Security.
I have to disagree with that point, Salman.
Sure, go ahead.
I have to disagree on that one narrow point. No, just to say, sorry to interrupt you, Salman. Apologies.
No problem.
I don't think this reduces our options. To the contrary, I mean, the JCPOA, the way it's structured, fully recognizing it was not a permanent or forever deal, it put significant constraints and unprecedented levels of transparency while preserving all of the same options that we as the international community had before the deal, after the deal. In fact, it strengthened our hand because it will be done so with the level of credibility and the legitimacy, having attempted and succeeded with a diplomatic outcome. So when the time came, 5, 6, 7 years from the date at which the JCPOA went in effect, to negotiate a second part of the agreement, which is always envisioned, again, to be a multi-part agreement, not a forever agreement.
I actually agree.
Do so again with years of compliance.
I agree with the fact that we are right now in a good position because we know all the infrastructure of the nuclear planets, etc., in Iran. But if we keep leaving the other big issue of the Iran regime, the philosophy of its regime, the expansionist regime, and keep it aside and just say, okay, the nuclear deal is separate from the behaviors of Iran, and let's deal with the behavior of Iran alone without going after the money that they will take and fund and tunnel and channel it through the militant group in the region, that's very risky.